The cafeteria buzzed with the usual midday chatter as students lined up for their meals. 12-year-old Harrison adjusted his crisp blue blazer and grabbed his tray. His father owned half the buildings downtown, and his mother sat on 3 charity boards. But today, something felt different. As Harrison scanned the crowded lunchroom, he noticed a girl sitting alone at the far corner table. She had blonde hair pulled back neatly and wore the school uniform with quiet dignity. What caught his attention was her empty tray. Not just empty, completely bare. While other students unwrapped sandwiches and opened chip bags, this girl named Emma just sat there with her hands folded in front of her. She stared straight ahead as if pretending not to notice everyone else eating. Harrison had seen her before in the hallways, always keeping to herself. He knew kids whispered about her family, about how her father had lost his job at the factory, about how they lived in the old apartment complex near the train tracks. But he had never really thought about what that meant. Not until this moment. He looked down at his own tray. A cheeseburger with golden fries, fresh fruit salad, a chocolate chip cookie still warm from the oven, and a carton of cold milk. His stomach suddenly felt tight. Harrison made a decision. He walked across the cafeteria, feeling dozens of eyes tracking his movement. The room seemed quiet as he approached Emma's table. She looked up surprised and slightly afraid. "Are you okay?" he asked gently. She nodded quickly, but her eyes told a different story. "I noticed you don't have lunch today," Harrison said. "Would you like to share mine?" Emma's cheeks flushed pink. "I'm not hungry," she whispered, but her voice cracked on the last word. Harrison sat down across from her. He carefully divided his food, pushing half toward her side of the table. "My mom always packs way too much," he lied smoothly. "I can never finish it all." Emma hesitated. Her pride fought with her hunger. Finally, she picked up half the sandwich. "Thank you," she said so quietly he almost didn't hear. They ate in silence for a few minutes. Harrison noticed how carefully she chewed, how she made each bite last, how grateful she seemed for something he usually took for granted. The next day, Harrison arrived at school early. He stopped by the cafeteria office and asked to speak with Mrs. Chun, the lunch coordinator. She was a kind woman in her 50s who had worked there for 20 years. "Mrs. Chun," he began, "I want to pay for someone's lunches for the rest of the year." She raised her eyebrows. "That's very generous, Harrison. Who is this for?" "Her name is Emma Richardson. She's in my grade. But I don't want her to know it's from me. Can you just tell her someone paid it forward?" Mrs. Chun smiled warmly. She had seen a lot of children from wealthy families pass through these halls. Few showed this kind of heart. "Of course I can do that," she said. Harrison used his birthday money and what he had saved from doing extra chores. It wasn't about the money. It was about dignity. About making sure Emma never sat at that table with an empty tray again. Over the following weeks, something unexpected happened. Harrison and Emma became friends. She was brilliant, especially in mathematics. She helped him understand concepts that had always confused him. In return, he shared his love of history, and they spent lunch periods discussing everything from ancient Rome to space exploration. One afternoon, Emma invited Harrison to her home. He had never been to that part of town. The apartment was small, much smaller than his bedroom alone, but it was spotlessly clean and filled with love. Emma's mother, Maria, worked 2 jobs, as a nurse's aide and at the grocery store. Her father, David, had been searching for work for 8 months. His worn hands and tired eyes told the story of a man who wanted desperately to provide. They welcomed Harrison with warmth that money couldn't buy. Maria served tea and homemade cookies made from scratch. "We don't have much," David said with quiet honesty, "but what we have we share." That evening changed Harrison forever. He saw that poverty wasn't about laziness or poor choices. Sometimes it was about layoffs and medical bills and systems that fail good people. He also saw that wealth wasn't measured in bank accounts. Emma's family had something his own family had lost somewhere along the way. They had time for each other, real conversations, laughter that came from joy, not social obligation. When Harrison returned home that night, he found his father in the study reviewing business reports. "Dad," he said, "can we talk?" His father looked up surprised by the seriousness in his son's voice. "What is it, Harrison?" "I met a man today. Mr. Richardson. He's been out of work for months. He worked at your factory before it closed." Harrison's father set down his papers. "Go on. He's a good man, Dad. Skilled and honest. He wants to work. Emma told me he applies to dozens of jobs every week, but no one will give him a chance." His father was quiet for a long moment. "What would you like me to do?" "Hire him," Harrison said simply. "Give him a fair chance. Not because I'm asking, but because it's right." 3 weeks later, David Richardson started working as a facilities manager at one of the company's downtown properties. The job came with better pay and health benefits. Emma's mother was able to cut back to one job. The family began to breathe again. But the real transformation happened in Harrison. He started a lunch program at school. With his father's help, they created a fund where students could eat regardless of their family's financial situation. No one had to know who could pay and who couldn't. Everyone received the same respect, the same dignity. Years passed. Harrison and Emma remained close friends through high school. She earned a full scholarship to university and later became a teacher. Harrison took a different path than his father expected. Instead of business school, he studied social work. He never forgot that day in the cafeteria, that moment when he saw another human being struggling and chose to act. He learned that privilege wasn't something to feel guilty about. It was a responsibility, a chance to lift others up. Emma once told him that the lunch he shared saved her in more ways than he knew. She had been ready to quit school that day, embarrassed and defeated. His small act of kindness reminded her that she mattered, that someone saw her. Now, both in their early 20s, they sometimes met for coffee. They laughed about their school days, about how a simple lunch sparked a friendship that changed both their lives. Harrison realized his father's billions couldn't buy what Emma had taught him. True wealth is in compassion, in seeing beyond yourself, in understanding that everyone carries struggles we cannot see. And sometimes the smallest gesture, a shared meal, a kind word, a moment of genuine human connection, can change everything, not just for one person, but for everyone touched by that ripple of goodness, spreading outward into a world that desperately needs more of it. The lesson wasn't complicated. It was beautifully simple. We all have something to give, and when we give from the heart, everyone becomes richer. If this story touched your heart, please like this video and share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Subscribe to our channel for more stories that remind us of our shared humanity. And leave a comment below telling us about a time someone showed you unexpected kindness. Your story might inspire someone else to pay it forward.